Welcome back to Day Up, the weekly podcast for Chinese professionals navigating the Western workplace. I'm Jonathan. Let's get into it. 周日好，我的职场小伙伴. Can you be more concise? If you've heard that at work, it means they've already stopped listening a while ago. I've won a national speaking competition twice. I've presented to CEOs, negotiated with government regulators, and crafted messaging for $100 million ad campaigns. And I've still received that feedback. I still do. After years of communicating in high-stakes situations and still working on my own conciseness, I've learned what being concise actually means, why it's so difficult, and the two phrases I use to get to the point when I have no time to prepare. Cambridge Dictionary defines concise as short and clear, expressing what needs to be said without unnecessary words. Read it again, because there are two jobs hiding in that sentence. Deciding what needs to be said, cutting the unnecessary words. Almost everyone jumps straight to the second one. It's the visible half. You can count words. You can time yourself. You can make that paragraph shorter. For us Chinese professionals, that pull is even stronger. When you work in your second language, a long block of English is just that much harder for you to make it through compared to your coworker. Like reading through my newsletter right now. I appreciate you, but cutting words without deciding what needs to be said doesn't make you concise. It makes you incomplete. In my own writing and speaking, I work in a specific order. Decide what needs to be said, and then start cutting around that. You've heard the advice. Great speaking and writing starts with great thinking, which is true and often utterly useless. Because great thinking isn't one thing. A scientist reads a businessman's idea and finds it simplistic. A businessman reads a scientist's idea and finds it overcomplex. Both are thinking well, just for different terrain. At work, great thinking doesn't start in your head. It starts in theirs. Because almost everything we say at work is chasing one of two things, alignment or action. Both of them happen inside somebody else's head, which means before you can think about your message, you need to understand three things about the other person. What's in it for them, what's the one thing they need to know, and what they need to do. Let's take an example from my recent client, Bing. Her project was tracking 2 weeks behind schedule, and she needed to communicate that concisely to her busy manager. What's in it for me? Bing's manager doesn't really care about the specific reasons, not right now. Right now, he cares about a launch date he promised his own boss. What's the one thing? Naturally, the one thing Bing needs to share isn't everything that happened. It's that the launch date is now at risk. The cause can follow in one short line, but it never goes first. What do I need to do? Bing's recommendation: keep the date and drop one feature or move the date. Together, these three are the first half of the concise formula. What needs to be said? Now the second half, cutting the unnecessary words. If you grew up Chinese, you learned pudian, context first, conclusion last. So you pile on the context at the beginning, hoping more information will show your thoughtfulness and your rigor. In fact, for your audience, it's confusing at best and downright frustrating at worst. So I clamp both ends of the message. Open with the main thing is, close with the reason I'm telling you is. Try to finish either sentence without having decided something. You can't. The first one won't let you open with context. So it forces your main message to the front. The second one won't let you end on information. So it forces your ask. Here's what it looks like for Bing. Before. So we had the vendor issue in week 2, and then the data migration took longer than expected because the schema didn't match what they gave us. And QA found a few things, and I've been working through it with the team, and I think we're mostly okay, but the timeline might move a bit. After. The main thing is we're 2 weeks behind, and the launch date is at risk. The cause was the vendor delay in week 2. The reason I'm telling you is that I'd like your input on whether we hold the date and cut the reporting feature or move the date. I hope that in as few words as possible, I've conveyed my own main message here. Conciseness isn't a writing skill. It's a decision-making skill. become more concise, and you'll become so much more. All right, that's your growth tip for this week. Now let's take a melon break. Sam Altman, you're going to work harder and you're going to love it. Sam Altman got on a podcast this week and admitted something refreshingly honest. AI is not going to give you a 4-day work week, not because the tech can't handle it, but because we won't let it. We always want more. We think of new things to do, to create for each other, to want for ourselves. It's like a relative game, Altman said. I think he is completely right. And I see it every single week in my coaching. AI isn't lightening anyone's load. It's quietly absorbing the work my clients used to do so they can go do even more work. The reports write themselves now, so we run 3 more analyses. The emails draft in seconds, so we send twice as many. And don't even get me started on AI anxiety and how that's pushing some of my clients into a frenzy in the precious after-work hours and weekends, which used to be reserved for, relaxation, not vibe coding. Good news for us rats in the race. The speed setting on our hamster wheel has now been set to 11, so now we can run even faster. Here's how you can use this topic in small talk next week. With coworkers. Did you catch Altman basically saying AI is never getting us to a 4-day week? Honestly, feels true to me. My to-do list only got longer since we started using AI. Are you actually saving any time or just doing more? With your boss. I keep thinking about Altman's point that productivity gains get reinvested into more ambition, not more free time. Makes me wonder where we want to deliberately reinvest the hours AI is freeing up on our team before they quietly refill themselves with busy work. Day Up is written, produced, and hosted with love by me, Jonathan Lee. To learn more, check out my free weekly newsletter for communicating in the Western workplace, read by over 2,000 Chinese professionals. Just search Day Up Jonathan and you will find me. That's all for today. See you next Sunday, 我的职场小伙伴们。